Kitchener. And on July 20th, 1969, one of the biggest scientific feats ever attempted was accomplished by the United States. For those of you who don't know, that was the day that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon in Apollo 11. To this day, that's one of the biggest monumental days in U.S. history. That's because it solidified the United States as the world superpower over the Soviet Union, who at the time we were engaged in the space race with. Well, recently, because of the bad economy, everyone's been forced to cut back, one of those being NASA. Their budget was cut from 0.6 of the federal budget to 0.5 of the federal budget, which may not seem like a big number, but that was millions of dollars worth of money, which canceled their Ares space program, which was the United States' next attempt to go to the moon and possibly Mars. And some of you may be wondering now, like, why is space travel so important? Why does it matter? Well, John F. Kennedy tried to answer that question once when he was asked about why go to the moon. He said, why choose the moon as our goal? Why choose that as our goal? He said, well, why? Some say, why go to the moon? Why choose that as our goal? They might as well ask, why climb to the highest mountain? Why fly across the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? Well, what he's trying to say is, why not? Why not challenge ourselves, use our resources to do something truly great with what we can do and really advance the United States? And that's why it's important, because it really advances world progress. And it does that through the technology, knowledge, and superiority over the world, which is our respect towards everyone else. Some of the important discoveries that have been made is the NASA's Dryden project, which some of you, maybe most of you, don't know about. But what it is, it's a solar panel radar plane, which works together with a satellite, which gives at-time data of exactly what's going on the Earth. Recently, many of you heard about the earthquake in Haiti. Well, a few days after, NASA quoted saying the Dryden will allow us to image deformation of the Earth's surfaces and other changes after the Haiti earthquake. So what NASA was able to do is fly their plane over the fault line and other areas around Haiti, shoot the radar down. That information was sent back up to a satellite, sending a location of that the radar was at, which in time gave scientists a 3D geographical map of the fault line in the area, which scientists was able to use and analyze and determine why what happened and how bad it was, and more importantly, what could happen in the future. And these satellites do a lot more than that also. They monitor the ozone layer, and they study air quality and climate changes and can determine what we can do to improve the air and what we can do to improve the environment. But these scientific discoveries don't only stop on our planet. Many of you know that years ago we sent rovers to the moon, and recently we've sent even more to Mars. Well, after some research, we've discovered that there's water on both of those planets. That's huge discoveries. And you may be wondering, why does that matter? Like, why do we need water on other planets than the moon? Well, eventually Earth resources are going to run out, and we're going to have to expand outward, and the only place out is beyond the Earth. So the sooner we can learn about what we're going to have to take on in the future, the more we can learn about it, and we can be more prepared when we have to do that. So that is really we prepare now for the future. We'll be better off when it comes. And some of you still may be thinking you haven't had any impact from the space program. Well, there have been plenty of household items that you still use today. Like many of you probably sleep on memory foam mattresses. Probably have used cordless power tools in the past. And I'm sure most everyone here uses a water filter at home. And those are all created because of the space program. They're created by either NASA or other associates to go up into space, but now have found ways into households. And it doesn't stop there. There's also been Velcro, Teflon, even Tang orange juice. And another reason we can advance from this is by our national pride. For an example, it's similar to when the explorers were coming to the New World. It became prestigious for a country to acquire land here in what we know tonight as the Americas. But at the time, if a country could acquire land here, they were a powerful country. And so today it's the same reason by going to space. If we can do something, if we can accomplish something outside of our what we call home, it's a big deal. It brings a lot of prestigiousness to the country. And a recent example that NASA's Michael Lembeck said was when we go to the moon and visit even a pub or celebrate our latest discoveries, we reduce tensions with our neighbors and generate new resources. And that's really what we're doing here. We're finding new resources, And the United States is getting a lot of prestigiousness from this, going out to the space and doing other stuff there. So, overall, everyone has been affected by the space program, whether you know it or not. And if it wasn't for the space program, who knows where we'd be right now. There could be, like, we might not have advanced so quickly, and there could be tons of inventions and acquired knowledge that we may have never discovered if it wasn't for the space program yet. So that's why space travel is really important for us, because it advances us, and that's what we really need to do right now, because the United States has, ever since we landed on the moon, ever since we left there, we've been known as a world superpower, and right now that's what the United States needs. We need to be the world superpower. The United States needs to advance and overcome this economy as well. Thank you.
All right, well, the subject's clear. I'm not exactly sure what the proposition is and what the controversy is. The fact that there have been cutbacks in the economic times that we're faced with, there's not really much dispute on that. That those cutbacks are significant, that they're going to have some negative consequence to us, that they're going to diminish our status in the world, any of those kinds of things, those could potentially be your proposition, but you never really say that that is the point of the speech. Now, it does come up in a couple of places that the main justification that you have seems to be about demonstrating the United States' superiority as a superpower, and so there's a political objective to be achieved by continued funding of these kinds of programs. The amount of funding that's required in order to maintain that status is not really demonstrated. I think that you've got a better argument on some of the scientific notions and advancements that we get, and I think the other thing really, although it's an ancillary benefit, I'm not sure that it should be the main justification that people use in advancing that particular point. In the supporting material, you had a couple of examples, and there's some factual data. We're not getting any source citations on those. You had two particular quotes that I heard that you cited. One was from John F. Kennedy, and so we know that one's fairly old. And then there was another one that was talking more about contemporary space exploration and the value it might have for the way we're perceived around the world. I thought that was an interesting point. Those two things seem like they would go together because it's mostly about the political objectives there, but they're in different places in the speech. I had a hard time following the structure of the presentation. You had a lot of good ideas, but they all seem to run together, and I'm not sure that you distinguish some of those, like the scientific points, from the political objectives, from the economic benefits that we might get. And that's something that ought to be easy for people to see in listening to this argument, so we can pick out those particular claims. At the end you come back to the political objectives as the main justification, and to me that seems like the argument that's least enticing to people, and instead the scientific one would probably be the stronger argument. And I'm not sure exactly how Tang is going to advance our scientific status in the world, but it's nice to be able to make juice out of water and powder.